All right. I think if I did that right, that means that we're live. I've got my coffee. We're pretty close to being on time. I think we're about a minute or something late. So I see the chat's already popping off. So thank you guys for being here. I'm on like a 30 or 45-second delay or something like that. I think my mic is on, so if you can hear me, let me know. Oh, yeah, I see the high fists are all in attendance. Um, the high mages are here as well. Yeah. So, but if it seems like I'm like responding to stuff from like 2 minutes ago, it's probably just because I'm on the time delay or whatever. So yeah. Um, but no, I'm excited to be here. This is also like our 2,000 subscriber live stream in addition to the kind of end of the mage tournament. So I just wanted to again say thanks to everybody for subscribing, for watching the videos. I'm like pumped to see the channel growing and stuff, and to even have like people queued up obviously before the live stream even starts is like, makes it just so much fun for me, because again, I'm just excited to see people like reading the books and like, having people to nerd out with. Like I always say, I never really even knew about the Facebook group and stuff before I started the channel, and I might not have even started it honestly, because there's good stuff going in there, but I'm so glad I did, because we just it's nice having a dedicated space to just go in and chat about the books and all of that stuff. And so I don't look at the Discord like traditional social media, because it's not like a feed that you have to keep up with. It's just very much about like when questions come up or you're thinking about some weird aspect, it's just cool to have a place to go and not just like put a post on Facebook and then like read all the comments, but to actually like have a dialogue or whatever. And for me, that's what it's all about. So the subscribers and stuff, I'm very grateful and appreciative. But more than that, I'm just so pumped that people are getting into these books and finding them and enjoying them, and then that I'm also able to kind of selfishly piggyback that journey with them just for my own entertainment purposes, because I like doing that stuff too. So a couple of things that I want to do this time, in addition to just thanking everybody for the support and all the subscribers and the growth and everything like that, is to go over the whole tournament, and I have like just like a couple of things I wanted to share, go over the results obviously. And so I pulled the final numbers as of about 9:30 this morning before I came on here, and so we do have a crowned champion. But it's just been so cool, because I think I posted that first video or the live stream, I think, when I said I wanted to do the tournament and we were throwing names around and stuff. That was all the way back in April. And so, here in the US, without getting too, current event focused, has been pretty brutal. And this has been just like such a killer way to burn the last 3 months of what has been a pretty brutal time too. So, it's been a lot of fun, and I want to cover the, not just who won, obviously, which we all are probably up to speed on by now, but just go through the tournament again and just kind of go through line by line all the different matches and kind of relive, especially that first round, which I know we've said a million times is like so fun. And so go through all of that. I want to pull out some highlights and talk about some of the big upsets. I want to give you my picks as well for what, how I would have done it. I won't advance them all through the brackets and make the whole bracket different, but I can at least go through and tell you the ones where I think you guys screwed it up and why, or whatever. And then the other thing I want to do is to obviously then give the stuff away. So, and that's the other cool thing about this community, that, just going back to the books, or going back to just the kind of engagement level or whatever, is like the vast majority of the people in this giveaway opted for the books. So it just goes to show people are really in it mostly for the enjoyment. And then you had like the seasoned pros who already have all the books that took advantage of the art, which is where I would have gone personally. So, but before I get into the actual tournament stuff, let's just see who's here and say what up, because I got finally, and last time I didn't have this, but I finally got all my stuff from work, so I have like my multiple monitors, so I can actually like see the chat on the one hand, and then still making sure that my like stream is alive and well on the other, so I can actually see what you guys are writing this time. Oh my gosh, and I can see we have like half the globe here represented. Yeah, I see all the high mages and high fists in here. I see Blah Anger, which I think is Europe. And and we got Jonathan here from the Emerald Isles. Who else? I think I saw William was in here. Yeah, William's here too. Krupp's Pastries in attendance, definitely. We got Al, the pal, or actually it's Iskar, the pal now, which I love. What up, dog? Yep, we got High Fist. Ruth Ann Bad up in this piece. We got everybody. Oh my gosh, I know there's definitely not enough sappers. We're the sappers and the Marines, and hopefully we get some of the new recruits up in here too. So it was funny when I went through and looked at my analytics again. It's like, planning this stream is so difficult because less than half, I think it was like 46% of the views of the channel are not US. And so it makes it challenging because we're all over the map in terms of time zones, but I think this is like one of the better times, like early morning weekends is when most people are awake for one reason or the other around the globe. Either you're getting ready to go to bed or you're just waking up, or maybe it's like middle of the day. So there is a pretty brutal span of times, but yeah, I see JP is missing too. I think JP steers clear of this. And actually, the other thing I wanted to say is that this might have some spoilers. So it's hard to go into all the mage tournament stuff. I mean, the reasons why, we think somebody should have won versus another largely relies on like the stuff that we saw them do in the books. And so just the tournament in general tends to be a little bit more spoilery because all of the justifications you want to give. And so for anybody who hasn't read all the books, I'm not going to tell you how the book ended or anything like that during this, but I think we will talk about like fights and battles or specific moments that are illustrative of why that mage was a badass or should have won or whatever. And so tread lightly. Oh, I see Quezzy's here from South Africa. What up, dog? I know it's probably like after dinner time. Hopefully you had a nice braai today or something like that. But it's funny that I have so many South Africans because my wife is South African. Actually, somebody commented, I don't know if you can see, but that little, where is it? If I can do this properly. Yeah, that little like artwork piece is from Cape Town. My wife is actually South African. So a couple of people recently have hit me up, and we've gone to South Africa many times in the 20 whatever years that we've been together. And so it's good to see that South African contingent representing. So, oh my gosh, we got Bob up in here too. We got the UK contingent is representing as well. Cool, man. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. But I think with all that being said, we said what we're going to do, right? We talked about the agenda for the live stream, which is, thank you to all the subscribers. Thank you to our patrons who support this community and do these giveaways and pay for the other stuff like the readings that we got commissioned from I Am Electric Man, which I've already heard so many that are so good. And when we get into the Memories of Ice chapter by chapter stuff, it's going to be the bomb. And we might even like collect all the poems into kind of like a free audiobook that you could download and call it like Poems of the Malazan Empire or something like that, just because they're so good. And then people could maybe even do a whole series on like breaking down the poems. We were doing some of that, but the point is to say thank you to them, because they're the ones who are footing the bill, shall we say, for hopefully the quality and stuff to step up to do more fun videos and working on the animation, which I'm trying to do and squeeze that in. It's like between the Discord and the making the videos, doing the chapter reviews, working on some of these other like bigger speculation spoilery videos, and working on the animation and doing my like regular job. It's been a little bit brutal, but yeah, that's the main thing, is to say thank you to them and to say thank you to all of you guys for just watching and supporting, to do the tournament recap, and then to do the giveaway. And there will be some spoilers, so just proceed with caution. But with all of that being said, let's get into the tournament, and let's see if I can actually do this technologically without totally screwing it up. Give me one sec. We're gonna do this, and the champ is here. And so with that, we can go through the whole tournament. So let me get my tournament spreadsheet up. And I think if I did that right, then we should be looking at our tournament spreadsheet. So let's go to this. Let's do a recap, because obviously the big news and whatever is that Quick Ben took this tournament down, closed out this morning, and at that point in time, he had 73% of the overall vote. And so, oh my gosh, JP's up in here. Yeah, dog, awesome. We'll try not to spoil it for you, but if you have to jump out at any point in time, thank you so much for joining, JP. The man, and hopefully, and actually I know that he went in for the art, which there was less entrance for, so I know JP's odds are good, but we'll let you know either way when we rendezvous back in the Discord after that. But yeah, check out the victory, 73% for Quick Ben over Tay Shren, and I think that if you go through the comments, it was absolutely brutal. There is a lot of arguments going back and forth on both sides, and I think one of the challenging parts of this whole tournament is, and one of the cool things is just that the magic system is subjective, right? And so it's there is a case to be made on both sides of the oh, nice. We got Andrew Waller up in here, too. What up, dog? Oh, my gosh. I think that's my first actual membership. Is that what that means, that Andrew became a member? If so, thank you so much. Oh, my gosh. I just got that. I don't know how that works. But, yeah, buddy, we so appreciate you. But, yeah, the scrapping over this one was so intense, and I think from my standpoint, well, actually, let's just go through Quick's journey, because he did have a pretty gnarly journey before we break down the Tay Shren matchup. But if you look, this was probably arguably the biggest upset maybe of the entire tournament, right? It took they already have scrapped once, right? We saw it in Gardens of the Moon. And it took many people, and then couldn't even really get the job done, but also ultimately then took the intervention of the Azath, and so for Quick to win with 73% of the vote, people were pissed on on that one. So it's it's yeah, I don't know. That one I think was the most dubious, and I think one. And somebody said, I forget who said this in the comments, but one of the comments was um, something to the effect of people just didn't want to see Quick Ben go out, because this one, like unlike some of the other ones where I think that the population at large got the answer wrong, this one you could have. You can't use the argument that these are new readers and they haven't read that far. Like on someone like Badell or something, I think that was probably, you could make that argument that Silver Fox had the big giant reputation and name from everything in Memories of Ice and Deadhouse Gates, and even a little bit in Gardens of the Moon, that there was this kind of myth growing about Silver Fox that people got very early on, and maybe they just didn't know when it came to Badell, and that's why they went for Silver Fox. You can't say that with Raced and Quick Ben, right? Because that's first book. He was the big bad guy of the first book, and so this is one of the few ones where we've actually seen the two competitors in the tournament having actually squared off. So yeah, I think either he didn't eat his Wheaties in the morning that day, or maybe he was overconfident and he went out drinking the night before. I see Nilfrog's up in here. What up, dude? But for whatever reason, yeah, he got up and he was all cranky, right? He's not a morning person, something like that. But it took all those people from Gardens of the Moon, including Quick, and they basically still got curb stomped. And again, it took a godly intervention, shall we say. So I think this one must come down to popularity. And actually, in all honesty, I thought this would be a giant popularity contest. That didn't bother me entirely, just because in general the popular mages tend to be super beefcakes too. But this one was probably one of the biggest upsets. But then actually Quick has the second matchup in the second round when he took on Korbal Broach. That's the second actual rematch too, right? Because he yeah, sorry JP, I knew it was gonna go that way, but it was really good to see you, and I appreciate you even showing up for a second. But yeah, if you look at the second match, that was the other one where that was like kind of a rematch, right? Because these guys had actually faced each other down, and so in this case, I think it was pretty decisive. And actually, I think when we get to the biggest blowouts part, I think this was one of the biggest blowouts. I think actually Quick had almost all of the biggest blowouts, because if you look at the margin of victory on this Korbal Broach match, he got 98%, so 283 of the 289 votes. So there was six ride or die Korbal Broaches out there. So he has his contingent, right? But Quick basically pulled his pants down, laid him over his knee, and just spanked him in front of the entire audience. And he had to go back and like cry and basically do the walk of shame back to the locker room, because he just got absolutely duffed out. The rest of Quick Ben's journey, I agree pretty much with most of the outcomes, more or less. But the margin of victory, I think, was just, I guess there is, you either win or you lose, and that describes it. But like, I thought there would be some people who said, Hannon Mosag would potentially take him, because there's some I don't want to get too spoilery, but there's some power there for sure when you think about Hannon Mosag, right? Because and it wasn't just like, so he was really good with curled Emerlin or whatever, but he also had some chaos going for him too, right? So oh, JP stayed in. I thought we were safe. All right, see you, dog. But yeah, Hanan Mosag was like the warlock king basically of the Tist-Eater, and so he, of the 359 votes, 352 went for Quick. So again, there's still that like contingent of 6 or 7 people who just refuse to give it up for Quick. But I thought at least there was an argument to be made there. Yeah, he did. But definitely think Quick probably would have taken him down. In fact, if you look at I forget what book it is, you guys can tell me in the chat. But Quick was, when he was on that ship, he put up that huge wall and took on a whole bunch of Tist-Eater, warlock mages, whatever, at the same time. And so I definitely think there's an argument to be made on that one. For Quick. Vorkin, I think, was maybe a little bit more cut and dry. Vorkin is like, and let me know what you guys think about this. Obviously, 19, so the margin of victory for Quick fell on this one. There was 19 people who actually thought Vorkin would take it down, which is more than thought Hanan Mosag. For me, I think Vorkin is super formidable in terms of her journey, or her magic skills or whatever. But I think her biggest strength is like that she's a pretty badass assassin. And somebody said, and I was like totally cracking up in the comments, but somebody said, let's be real, like even Crocus beat Vorkin's ass. And so I thought that was hilarious. But she was the head of the Assassins Guild in Darujistan, and so I think for her that she is a pretty beefcake mage, and even like as told through the eyes of like Baruch and Ralik Nam. But I think again her big thing was that she kind of had that mix of both magic and also just being an uber badass assassin. So this one, I think Quick Ben also should have taken it down. In fact, I'm surprised that more people thought Quick Ben would take out, I don't know, Hanan Mosag or something like that over Vorkin, because for me this one was a lot easier. Then we get down into another questionable one, I think, for me, the Panansir. I mean, look, all the Jagat in the tournament are straight up beast mode, right? Do you ever see Jagats really getting beat down that much in the books or the ice books, or hearing about them getting their ass beat? I mean, look how much Tlan Imass it takes to exterminate like one Jagat, and why they had to go through the ritual and all the other shenanigans and hundreds of thousands of years of suffering. They wouldn't do that if it was easy to take those guys down. So, but we had Quick again taken down with 363 votes, the Panansir. Now I could see some argument, because on the one hand, like obviously the Panansir, it took like a whole, and I think one of the High Fists said it took many armies and like a bunch of crazy ass badasses, of which like top 10 didn't even include Quick Ben, because there was just so many more gnarlier people in that army, and they could still barely even get the job done on the Panansir. So like I'm sympathetic to that aspect of it, because that's a totally valid argument. But the other thing is, like, this is in a one-on-one battle, then the odds, I think, go up, because he doesn't have all the 10 Scoury and the matron and the armies and stuff like that. That's part of the thing that made, and so much human life essentially held hostage that they're trying to, prevent from, mass genocide or something like that. So I do think there is, you could make some argument for Quick Ben. I don't think it's totally conclusive, just because the army side, just because it's the nature of the scrap is a little bit different. But but yeah, I do think at least that there was on the other side that there is at least some argument because as Nilfrog said in the comments that he was holding back a lot of his power. I think B, there's a lot we don't know about Quick Ben, and I'm actually in the process of making another Quick Ben video just because me and the High Fist Ruth Ann Bad were going back and forth one day about Quick Ben. Actually, we started talking about like the Azath house, and for some reason started talking about I know because Quick Ben is one of the chapter poem quotes from Gardens of the Moon, I think it was, where he actually has a whole book about, or a chapter in his book about the Azath, and we just started talking about how he knows so much about the Azath, and just there's so much going on there that we don't know. He seems to be able to access Elder Warrens, right? And so I do think that there is a case at least to be made, although I tend to agree, that it might have been a bad thing. But I see somebody else said, let me try and scroll up here, because somebody else was saying that there's also a lot of like growth from, like Gardens of the Moon quick all the way through to the Crippled God quick. So, I think that that's also... part of it too. Who said that? Somebody. Oh, yeah. So yeah, I think, that one probably maybe got it wrong. But then, at the end, I think Quick versus Taishren, again, I think some of those same arguments stand here. Obviously, much less conclusive. So there was, what is it? Over about 106 people actually still thought out of 391 that Taishren should have taken it down. But I think that that was, there's some people who just straight up revere Quick Ben, right? Like that is just a fact. When you read the books, he is just like shave knuckle in the hole, total freaking badass, and he's super powerful, right? And like everybody who meets him, and I think cover your ears for like 30 seconds if you haven't read Memories of Ice yet. But when he goes up against Bauchelain and Korbal Broach, that's like one of the most badass scenes. I would love to get that one animated where he's like, they think they've totally just like beat him into submission, and they're like, "Yep, you're effed." Like you totally should have like held some stuff back in reserve because now you're screwed, right? And then he's like, "Guess what? I did," and busts out his gnarly magic and just gives them the super big beat down. That is such a sick episode. So I think that just, in the hearts and minds, Quick is just going to be, popular. Yeah, he didn't want Rake probing him and all that stuff. So it's like there's just, his conversation, I think it was in either Dust of Dreams or The Crippled God with Mother Dark. That is so juicy, full of like speculation fodder, and that's what we were going big on. But I think that was just partially inevitable, although I think that would have been a really gnarly matchup. But if you look at Taishren's journey, I think that in some ways he had definitely the harder road to the finals than Quick, because I mean if you look there, a lot basically Taishren, not just as talked about as being super powerful in the books, and certainly by the end of the Ice stuff, it's also that he faces them down and beats their ass in this tournament. Almost everyone he beat, there was not really any slouch. Maybe his second matchup with Benata Senegar was kind of like a pushover match, but Beatrice is up in here. What up? Hopefully you had a good dinner with your family. I'm sorry to pull you away, but good to see you. Hopefully it was bomb. But yeah, Taishren like beat the ass of people who are actually like some of the most powerful people that we see throughout the entire books. He goes up against Kimlock, the Tano Spirit Walker, who can basically cause people to ascend. His song is so gnarly that he basically thought that he could have taken down like all of Dujak's second army when they were, or I don't know if it was the second actually. Yeah, I think it was the second when they originally took the seven cities. Kimlock was like prepared to go in there and like actually stop the entire army, right? And he decided not to because then he knew the Empress would, or the Empire, that Shadow Throne, or that Kalenved would send, the Talon Imass up against him, and there was just going to be too much bloodshed. But he still felt like pretty confident that he was going to be able to withstand that, right? So Kimlock the Tano Spirit Walker is a straight up badass, and Tay Shren just stomped him with 82% of the vote. And so, yeah, and he didn't want to because he didn't want to go through all that stuff. But I think if push came to shove, there's an argument that if he had his songs all dialed in and ready to go, he might have been able to do work. But I think ultimately I agree with the result there that Tay Shren would have beat his ass. But these are two seriously heavy hitters. This one I totally agree with. I think he would have totally completely beat Benatis's backside and embarrassed him, and he would have had to go back, and his whole family would have been back there just like so disappointed and embarrassed because it would have been absolutely crazy. Oh my gosh, Philip Chase is up in here. What up, man? I'm a huge fan. If anybody's in here that hasn't watched Philip's videos, you should definitely check him out because he has a much more smart approach to these videos. So I appreciate seeing you in here, dog. But yeah, I totally agree that Benatis would have beat him down. I see you guys are talking about Kharkanas speculation, and I am so pumped. Actually, I think in 10 Very Big Books, he says he's working on Walk in Shadow right now. And so I'm so pumped for that because I still think, they say that the backstory on Quick and stuff like that is all in there for anybody, and I think the jury is still very much out on that one, hoping for more clarity. Plus, those are just the ponderous, philosophical, kind of meandering nature of those books is, for someone who just is a sucker for backstory, I absolutely love those, and I love all the philosophical stuff with Cadspala. I know I'm going off on a crazy tangent, but yeah, Kharkanas is the bomb. So, but all the rest of the matches, I mean, look at who Tay Shren takes down, right? He chews through the Seta Kuru Khan, who's like maybe, even though, it's like kind of raw power or whatever, like I'd argue that that's one of the biggest, craziest, most powerful dudes that we see in all the books. Again, he kind of has like a Kimlock, the Tano Spirit Walker kind of vibe. Like he's not the one who's like the super hyped up scrapper who's gonna be like, what, you want a piece and all that. But he, when push comes to shove, and again, I don't want to ruin it for anybody who's not all the way at the end of the books, but when push comes to shove, he busts out some pretty impressive stuff. And so for me, this was brutal, and this is just a function of just such a crazy draw, right? Because Seta's like one of my favorite characters actually, and I can't wait to get further in the books because there's this like drawing. I think I posted it in the Discord or on my Facebook page. I don't do the Facebook anywhere because no one was really checking that or doing anything, and it's just too hard to keep it going. But the guy Yolton's Art from Reddit has like a pencil drawing of the Seta Kuru Khan, and it is straight up legit. It is such a... If I was more technologically advanced, I would try and share my screen and show it to you, but I'll post it in the Discord after this. It's a sick drawing. So he's one of just like my favorite. He's just like a quirky, unique, like cool, awesome character that I really, really liked. And so, I agree that maybe Tayshren, unless the set out a lot of time to like prepare and prep the grounds and do all that stuff, I think in a straight up like stadium style duel, that I do agree with this outcome, but it was just a brutal one, to see the Seta go out, right? Because he arguably could have been in the final four, the semis at least. He was just that level of power. And same thing with the with the next match, right? Because Tayshren was also the one. I mean, look at who he takes out, right? He takes out Kimlock. He takes out Seta Kurukan. He takes out Iskaral Pus. The Magus of Shadow definitely had more of his supporters out than some of these others, right? Because I think, how many votes did he get? 122 votes for Iskaral Pust out of almost 400. So he definitely had his strong contingent, and I think he's the one of the stronger people that we see in the books. But what's weird is just the nature of these powers are all different. Like Iskaral Pust is, confounds people with his weird, talking to himself. And is it deliberate? Is he just crazy? But there's like prescient hints buried in there and nuggets, and they're, manipulating subconsciously. And that's kind of the whole nature of just shadow and light and dark, and, hiding and subterfuge and all of that stuff. Versus just like straight up all out assault, versus like Tayshren is more, offensively driven. He can summon demons who are going to go literally like physically rip you limb from limb. He's going to shoot like crazy fire beams, from his hands, and like blow huge chunks off the side of Moonspawn, like single-handedly going head to head with people like Animander Rake, with help obviously, and didn't win. But still freaking pretty damn offensively oriented. And so I respect the people who voted for Iskaral. And I think, again, on the next tournament, we're going to have to be much more specific about kind of ground rules of how to judge all these things, because, I think in a duel setting, it's different than like if they're kind of engineering, armies and empires against each other for like world domination. Then maybe Iskaral Pust might have been sneaky enough to pull it off. But I think in a straight up head to head matchup, that Tayshren probably would, in a dual setting, probably I agree with that. But I agree that there's a lot of uncertainty, so I'm also a fan of this 69% margin, because really I don't know, and I think there's good arguments to be made on both sides. The next match, and this one was one of the most heated in the comments, is the Tayshren versus Krupp. So this was one of the tightest margins of victory, with only 211 of the 398 votes, or 53%. Tayshren did 86. Krupp, right? And so we have video of Erickson saying Krupp was like the most powerful character in the universe. We have that moment from Memories of Ice, which we know that Krupp, is, let's just say, he withstands some pretty intense, earth-shattering assaults. And so this one, I think there is a case to be made on both sides. I saw one half saying a lot of the big, moment for Memories of Ice is really attributable to Krull, right, and not to Krupp, and that this one should have been a much easier walkover. And then you have people who just, and this is the part that I'm sympathetic to, thinking that there should have been an argument, is that, there's just, like Quick Ben, there's a lot about Krupp that we just don't understand. We don't even really know what Warren, if any, he accesses. We know in his dreams he's, basically almost invincible. How he gets people into his dreams, we don't know. We saw in how he uses magic. How, is he using Makra? Like we saw the that one encounter, yeah, magnanimous pastry gobbling. Um, yeah, I'm sympathetic to the idea that he had help too, Al. Um, but you know, he had that one. I think it was when Marulio and Cover Your Ears for about 20 seconds if you haven't finished Gardens of the Moon. But when Marulio is connecting the dots that Krupp is the eel, we see that Krupp does this little thing, like glamours him to make him forget that he was the eel for a little bit so they could still go to the Fett. So again, we just don't know how Krupp uses magic, and I think that although I agree probably that Taishran probably would have won, that I could see the argument for a Krupp to win, and I don't begrudge the people who the hundred and how many ever people it was 187 people. Oh, that's funny. It's a 187 for Krupp. And similarly with the head-to-head match with Quick Ben, I could see the argument there, just because again, not because we see him do feats that were comparable or even gnarlier than what Taishran. I think he did some stuff that was right up there in terms of quick, being as powerful. But I think that that there was, an argument just because of the uncertainty factor about the stuff that we don't yet know about Quick Ben. So yeah, let's go through some of the other matchups and just some of the highlights, because there was some crazy stuff that happened. Let me start at the beginning, right? Yeah, so we had Bedell crushed. This one is actually one of the ones that I thought was one of the biggest upsets, which we can cover in a second. But Tattersail stomped by 63% Baruch. So just again, the first round was brutal with a lot of gnarly people going out, right? We had what were some of the other ones? Oh yeah, we had Krupp that just destroyed Kafal. Yeah, we actually had some other ones that were pretty brutal. Oh no. It looks like the stream's lagging out. So if it's lagging, I apologize. There's something fishy about my connection right now. Hopefully, let me turn off the internet on my phone. See if that works a little bit better and that my stream comes back. It looks pretty terrible. So I'll try and go nice and slow, but let me know. Yeah, it's all right. Okay. Yeah, but I think there was some pretty bad beats, like this one, Lorik versus Sormo Enath. I think there was a reason to put Sormo through. I just finished Deadhouse Gates about a month ago, so I'm obviously biased a little bit towards Sormo Enath, but I pretty much, and I have a special section for Lorik, but I think Sormo, this one, Ulara, this one I do chalk up to potentially people haven't finished the books and read Path to Ascendancy yet, but Ulara could have won, and again, I guess it just depends on the nature of the battle, but she was the straight up G of the Beast Hold, right? And so that one was an upset. This one was the biggest upset. Monarch Occam raced, right? Who else got kicked out in the first round? Silk, which, I probably agree with that. Kimlock was a big upset too. I think Gwyn versus Silver Fox, and again, maybe this one is just people haven't finished Path to Ascendancy yet, but I think there was a case to be made for super obscure Gwyn. Oh yeah, and I see Sormo getting his much deserved love, but Who else? What else was a really brutal one? Oh yeah, this one sang, and so some people must not have finished all the ice stuff. Is what I chalk this one up to. So unlike the the race upset, I think this one can be explained by people having not finished the books, and they're just like, who the heck is Sang? Fingers is a Crimson Guard, avowed mage, and that was pretty much the tail of the tape. But Sang, is a straight up G. You know what I mean? So, oh, I see. Al is saying that Blues would have totally stomped um, Ulara. Yeah, I guess so. In a duel like that, I'm gonna go back to that one, even though I know I'm on the delay, because I want to pick that up, because I did think about this one for a second, and this one again comes down to rules of the road. I skipped Grub too, which I'll talk about in a second. But if if you are just purely in a dual setting with even without weapons, I think that Blues probably would have kicked her ass, because she's blind and had her eyes gouged out, obviously, and can only really summon animals to come and do her dirty work for her. So I think in a head to head, that's I'm sympathetic to that. I forget who said. Oh yeah, I skipped Grub against the Panny and Seer, and that is because for me that one wasn't that controversial. We do see Grub. I think access Warrens at one point with in the new Warrens, but he definitely doesn't seem like a master. And again, I think this one just depends on, are we talking about in the book Grub, or stuff that we've already seen, or the potential wise on Grub. So for me, that one wasn't as controversial. Now I think that we're gonna have a real challenge when we get into the first sword competition, because there, do we feature Grub kind of at his the crippled god age, or like the legend of Grub in the future, which I forget what epilogue it's in, or in the ice stuff or something like that, but he's referenced as being a straight up badass. So we're gonna have to really think hard, and I welcome your input on what the moral of the story is for that one. Yeah, exactly. And what's the age? That's what Blah Anger is saying. And by the way, I renamed Blah Anger because his name was Rudeness, I think, something like that. And in the Discord at first, and I was like so proud that I was waiting for the right person whose name I could have like parlayed into Polite Elal instead of Rude Elal. So that's a classic dad joke that I imposed my will on him, poor guy. But he humored me and kept the name going. So, but yeah, Grub, that one was less controversial. I think the Fingers versus Sang one was much more controversial. This one was hugely controversial, because how the heck was Sin not, making it in the Elite Eight? And so, that one was for me just the kind of the one that was emblematic of just how crazy that first round was, because Sin just deserved to be in there. I was depressed when Mallet went out, right? That one was super, not because I thought it was the wrong choice, but just because, poor little sweetheart, he just keeps screwing up or getting screwed over, and that was true in this tournament as well. Poor guy. This was like one of the most hilarious draws, because no matter what, either Marble or Twisty was going through to the round of 32, and that just to me makes no sense when you have people like Kimlock or Sin or Grub even, right, or Sang going out. It was pretty comical that one of these guys was gonna go through. What else? Beak made it through the first round. God bless him. Poor sweetheart. I do think Daruden had a more of a killer instinct, but in terms of raw power, it's no question. This one was one that I thought was an upset as well, right? So Liss I think a lot of you guys underrated Lish. She was like an old hag, but she has like many, decades worth of scrapping experience. She was like the protectresses, one of her Thai mages basically, and I think her and Silk and stuff are pretty badass. They ultimately had to bend the knee, but pretty. I think there was definitely an argument to be made for Lys to have gone through instead of Benata Senegar, who I thought was just of average strength basically. But a lot of you guys liked Benata Senegar. Second round, I thought there was some that I was going to have to put my thumb on the scale, which I didn't really have to. So we had, Belurden, excuse me. Gosh, I keep doing that. It's just my brain keeps going back to Belurden. But, he beat Talamandes. I agree with that. I thought I was going to have to put my thumb on the scale and it was going to be 50-50 for Tattersail. And I was going to have to be the big, crowd disappointer and put through Vorkin, because I do think that's probably who would have won. But somebody came through, and we ended up getting 3 extra votes in at the end for Vorkin, excuse me. And so we put her through. We had Quick Ben stomped Korbal Broach, which we already talked about. I love that the Panion Seer just had like all these kids the whole time. He just had like a bracket after a bracket where he is taking on more children, and so yeah. The other ones, yeah, and Silver Fox, I thought this one was a bit of a disappointment. Just because I think, I don't know, we don't see exactly what Silver Fox can do, right? We see some stuff in Memories of Ice, but I mean, the stuff Badell does, she's Badell ass, right? Because she is so fierce and savage. She's a really cool character. I hope to see more, honestly, maybe of what happens with that stuff later in the book. And it said I had no data for a second, but now we're back. But yeah, I think Badell could have made a case. Who else? Oh, it's lagging out again. I can see. I'll go nice and slow, hopefully. But we had, what other ones? Ocean Prawl beat Fingers. We had Bottle go out in the second round of the Seta Kuru Khan. That one was brutal, not just because, not because I thought it was the wrong result, I guess, ultimately. And I'm sorry if my stream is still having problems. I live kind of out in the country, and I'm on rural Wi-Fi, and I think it might be letting me down a bit. Let me see if I can get my chat window back and see if you guys can actually hear me. Looks like we still have people on. So, and the stream is healthy again. But this one, yeah, is the Bottle one is brutal. Not because I thought Bottle should have beat Seta Kuru Khan. I probably think the Seta would have taken Bottle down. But just because I love Bottle, he's such a cool character, and from the Bone Hunters onwards and stuff, he's just a really cool dude. I want to take a minute, and it's still too early for me, but I want to pour one out for Beak, because, and I saw you guys already, talking about Rest in Pieces, because Beak is just one of my favorite characters, and just absolutely love that character. Who else? There were some other ones that I really wanted to call out. Those were the ones from the second round. This one I thought was ridiculous, where Cal lost to Lorik. Um, we saw Taishran again take out the Seta Kuru Khan, um, and I saw a lot of people pissed off that Topper did not come through on Iskar all Pust. And how cool would it have been if we would have had Cowl beat Lorik and Topper take on Cowl again? That would have been the savage remix there. But then, you know, we know how the rest of the tournament shaked out in the final four. We had Quick Ben take out Vorkin, which I agreed with. We had Krupp take out Enda Salon. That was another really controversial one too. So it was pretty gnarly. And then of course Quick Ben took it. I know I've been going on ages. I didn't know this was all going to take an hour already. But I wanted to just show you, because I sorted these by winner percentage, and just to really quickly highlight kind of some of the biggest blowouts. So Krupp had some, right, where he blew out Kafal with 98% of the vote. A bunch of them were Quick, right? Quick versus Hanan Mosag, Quick versus Korbal Broach. We did have Hanan Mosag blow out poor Mulch. Yeah. And it was just pretty bad. Same with Benata Senegar. We had Balurden crushing Sour. Lorik crushing Shell. Honestly, I think this one you guys blew it on. Because I think there was an argument to be made for Shell taking down Lorik. Lorik's got a lot of reputation, but he doesn't have a lot of accomplishments there. So those were some of the biggest ones. Who else? Bauchelain. Gethel totally crushed Twisty, which is hilarious. Iskar all Pus destroys Mallet. Krupp destroys Ocean Prawl, where we finally got one going in there. So I see you guys are chopping it up in the comments as always. The other one I wanted to show was just the really close matches, right? Because Panty and Seer versus Silver Fox, that was the one that I had to go in and decide. That was the only one. The other close ones that you guys thought were really close was like Vorkin v Tattersail, which I agreed with. Cowl v Lorik was really close, and I think you guys went the wrong way on that one. Sin and Seta was, at least, as brutal as that one was, at least it was close. And so there was a lot of back and forth there. The Cowl versus Bauchelain one, and I'm curious, you guys can discuss in the comments, but I think there was a strong case to be made for Cowl, and you guys were really going at it in the comments for Cowl. So those ones were pretty brutal. The Beak versus Iskar all Pust was also very controversial. And in terms of just straight up raw power, you got to give it, I think, to Beak for sure. But, Iskar all Pust, in terms of having the killer instinct, I guess, would be the way to put it, or just the kind of backstabbery that would be in there. So I probably would have gone the other way. The rest weren't as controversial. Like, everybody won by about 2/3 or more of the vote. So those were some of the close ones. But what's really cool for me and gratifying, and this goes into super nerd territory, but it's just that, like, this tournament, it seems like people were really enjoying. We went from like 200 people or so voting on those very first matches. But we got all the way up to basically 400 people voting by the end of the tournament. The other thing is, yeah, and you can see that here, right? An average of about 244 people voted in the round of 64. And then by the time we got to the final four, we had, again, 403 people voting, and I think we probably would have got even higher than that for the grand finale if I didn't launch it on Friday and then announce the winner this morning. and in terms of just the total vote count, right? We we have 100, and out of all of the matches, right, across the whole thing, Quick Ben got 1,856 votes, and that was almost 600 more than voted for number 2 Taishren, even though they both went through the same amount of matches. So it was really cool. Oh, I see. Oh, Nilfrog is considering the Discord thing. Dude, jump in. You would love it in there, and you'd be a perfect person to have in there because you are such an expert and a pro. It's not like, you know, Facebook or anything where you got to keep up on it. But if you feel like chatting, you can go in there. And more importantly, you would be a key person to answer people's questions. So I'm personally recruiting you and turning the screws, but it's free to download. You don't have to go in there or spend any time, but if there's times when you're like, hey, I feel like nerding out on Malazan, there's usually always people in there ready to chat. But you can see just that this, you know, when in terms of just straight popularity, Taishren, Quick Ben, Krupp, and Iskar all pussed, and the Panty and Seer, just because of raw power, would you know, would be the kind of most popular thing. I do want to single out Olshan Prawl because, dude, this guy's not even a Bonecaster. I don't know how he got in there. We meet him like in Dust of Dreams, and I think I wrote Bonecaster in the first one, or people just assume because he's Talon Imas that he would have won. But, you know, it was funny to see him go through 3 rounds and then only finally get knocked out by Krupp in the 3rd round, because literally even like Corlo and definitely Fingers would have totally destroyed him in a magic competition, because dude can't even do magic. So just classic. And Lorik, I think, you know, I have my picks too that I'll go through in a second, but I just, you know, if you look at this Lorik one, like, I think he literally would have got probably beat down by every single one of these. Like, you guys put Lorik through over Sormo Enath, and Sormo Enath has, you know, his Wiccan magic. He can summon all those spirits up out of the ground. He was taking on like all of Korbal Dom's people, and so you know, for me, I think he would have got beat down by Sormo Enath. I think he would have got beat down by Shell. I think he would have got beat down definitely by Cowl. And that was one of the close ones. People were pissed that Cowl got beat down by Lorik. And then I finally agreed when we saw Lorik lose to the Panty and Seer. The Panty and Seer I just called out because, again, I thought it was hilarious that he took out a bunch of kids. He took out Grub, who's like less than a teenager, a couple of teenage Wiccan warlocks, the teenage Rivy Plains Bonecaster, the guy who's just a straight up child in attitude, and then finally loses to Quick Ben. So yeah, I just thought that was like, you know, you couldn't have planned it better, that he's just crushing, stomping kid after kid, all the kids in the tournament. You know, he stomped them all. So that's pretty much the recap and the data for the tournament. Again, it was a lot of fun. I think when you add up all the votes across every single match, there was over 17,000 votes across all the 60 or 63 matches. For the most part, I agreed with your picks, and I saved this till the end because I wanted to show you what I thought about some of these, and then that way I could end the stream after the giveaway and I didn't have to hear all the ridicule that I get. But you can still razz me in the Discord for the choices that you disagree with. But for me, one of the big ones I would have reversed the decision on was Baruch. And you know, I just think there was a strong case for all the reasons that I already said to put Baruch through. I said I would have put Sormo Enath through over Lorik. I think I said here that I would have put Ulara through over Blues, but I think when Al brought up the point about Blues would have stomped her, and I kind of talked myself back out of this, so I'd actually probably change this one maybe back to green and actually put it to Blues. So I would have let Blues maybe do that. The other one is, you gotta, if you're being objective, kind of put race through. Like, the reality is that Quick Ben probably should have never made it out of the first round, and so I will stand by that as as an issue. A couple others I thought, probably Sang and Sin should have been the ones to go out of the first round. I think Sin in particular against the Sedekuru Khan would have been really close, but she's got, the killer instinct and is really, it was savage, or is a savage, and also a psychopath, so I probably would have gave her the edge on that one. Even Corlo, poor little Corlo, I still would have put through over Ocean Prawl. Same thing, I would have put List through over Banana Senegar. I already said that. I already told you I would have put Badel through over Silver Fox. Yep. Shell I would have put through over Lorik. Crimson Guard, Avowed Mage, dude. You can't deny that she is pretty gnarly. What else? Fingers, I think, would have beat him too, right? Ocean Prawl just doesn't have magic. I think I would have put Beak through over Iskar Pus just based on sheer power, but again, in terms of killer instinct, I think you guys probably got that right. Again, every Lorik match, I think you guys screwed up until Lorik got kicked out of the tournament. But there you go. So, I probably would have maybe put Endus Salon through in terms of just raw power, but, I think the same argument you could make for Krupp is the one you could make for Quick Ben, so I don't have a lot of hard feelings there. And then the grand finale, I would have actually put Tay Shren through. I think that, he's done all the stuff. The Vitter, he, by the end, he's the new Krull, essentially, and so, again, I don't want to ruin it for everybody, but I just think that Tay Shren probably would have edged that out, and that would have been the big one. And so those are my biggest upsets, the ones that, either had a really tight margin or the ones that I thought you guys screwed up. Oh, and the other one, which is obviously the one that you guys totally screwed up, was by throwing out the champ very early on, right? Because we all know the real winner would have definitely been Monarch Occam, just the absolute most powerful character. It is known, right? And so that is kind of where we will leave it. So now let me turn my internet back on so that we can do the drawing, right, and give away some free stuff. So that is, and it looks like I've already gone on for more than an hour, but let me now switch over to the giveaway, and we'll give some free stuff away. So here we go. So here was the entrance. What I did was I went through all of the comments, and I went through them twice because a couple of times I actually last giveaway I actually left one or two of the people off, and I felt like so horribly guilty because they weren't even in there even though they commented. And so what I'll do is I'll scroll through and show you. So these were the three drawings. People who wanted the merch commented Envy. People who wanted the Path to Ascendancy trade paperback books commented Diker, and the people who wanted that Mark Simonetti A3 art print of your choice from his website commented with this dude's name, which I'm not even going to attempt because I know I'll just screw it up, and then you guys will crush me in the comments. And so what I did was I put everybody who said Envy in this list. Hopefully, if I scroll through nice and slow, you'll be able to, if you were on the merch giveaway, you see your name on this list. I put them in alphabetical order, and we gave everybody a number. And then we did the same thing for everybody book drawing, right? And hopefully you can see your name there. There was 27 people who wanted the books. or no, excuse me, wanted the merch. 45 people wanted the books, which is just so gratifying for me because that means that we sunk our hooks into you and you want to keep reading. And for me, that's the straight up bomb. So that's the list for that. And then the art, there was, I think that was the least popular gift, which, you know, not by a lot, but only 24 people instead of 27 people who wanted the merch wanted the art. That's the one I personally would have went for. I would kill for a Mark Simonetti print. So those are the 3 lists, and we're just going to go through in order, and we're going to let the person who lives in this phone do the drawing. So hopefully this works and you can all hear. And there's 27 who are entered for the merch. So, hey Siri, pick a random number between 1 and 27.
A random number between 1 and 27 is 8.
Number 8. So that means that Enolas Drada in the Discord is the proud owner of some new merch. So you'll get, I think we said the One of the Fallen hoodies, a Witness t-shirt, and the Pest Control mug, or vice versa, something like that. So contact me if you see this in the Discord, or I'll reach out to you with a PM, assuming that you did join the Discord, because I don't know if I remember seeing you in there. So yeah, congratulations on the merch. It feels good, and thanks again to the patrons for sponsoring this, and to our specific sponsor of this actual giveaway, who is just a beautiful, generous soul who we love so much. Let's give away some more stuff, right? So let's give away the books next. We got how many entrants? 1 to 45. 1 to 45 entrants want the Path to Ascendancy trade paperbacks, and let's do it. What did I say? 1 to 45. I already forgot. Hey Siri, pick a random number between 1 and 45.
I'm on it. A random number between 1 and 45 is 38.
38. Oh my gosh. Who is down there? I don't know if you can see 38 or not, but I think we all heard it. And that is Spinner Roggers. All right. Well, I guess that's one of the new entrants into the Discord. So hopefully you're in there and we can message you, or if you see this, then message me, and we'll get you sorted out and get your books ordered and sent over to you. All right, this is fun. Last one is for the art, and there is 24 entrants. So, hey Siri, pick a random number between 1 and 24.
A random number between 1 and 24 is 23.
1 and 24 is 23, which is woohoo. Woohoo, I actually have seen in the Discord chatting it up, and so yeah, that's awesome. I am pumped for everybody who won. Again, thank you so much to the sponsor of this giveaway. True generous soul, and just I love being able to give stuff back to the community, because again, for me, I'm getting the 2 primary objectives completed. I'm getting people into the books, and I'm getting to nerd out with them on their Malazan journey, and so this is just all more fodder towards that goal. So yeah, I guess it's been an hour and some minutes, and so it's been a lot of fun. That tournament, again, was a lifesaver for me getting through this quarantine. It was so fun waking up every day and seeing what you guys thought and chopping it up in the comments, and I look forward to the next tournament where we'll have a little bit more structure and rules to make it less kind of uncertain about the way it should all go down. But yeah, I look forward to seeing all these new recruits in the Discord, the vets who are always here supporting and just chatting and making it so much fun is like an absolute dream come true. And so, thank you to everybody who comes to this stream and supports. And we're on early and waiting for it. And again, I'm just having so much fun, and you guys are the total bomb. And so, with that, I will go ahead and say thank you for watching and happy reading.